For a case study about electronic data interchange, modernization for freight procurement, I'm joined by Kyle Jepson, Senior Vice President of Product at Immerse. Hi, Kyle.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, thanks for joining me. And Erik Kiser, CEO of Orderful. Hello, Erik.
Hey, Robert. Good morning.
Thanks again to both of you for being with me today. I want to start by asking Kyle to just give me a quick overview of Immerse.
Yeah, Emerge is an industry-leading procurement platform focused on the logistics industry, also coupled with our kind of unique marketplace offering. So really focused on matching shippers and carriers together to optimize the procurement process.
Why is EDI, or electronic data interchange, so important to your business, Kyle?
Yeah, we are largely focused on working with enterprise level customers. They do not like data entry. EDI is the way that the industry communicates, although we'd love to say APIs are the future. The reality is EDI is here for now, and I think into the future for quite some time as well.
So what were your goals when looking for a modern EDI solution?
Yeah, so we operate with a lot of developers who are used to working with traditional web services. The kind of older flat file integrations, the connectivity of EDI is something that was foreign to our company. We found Orderful as a great solution to really modernize that, allowed our developers to work with languages they're familiar with, and they took on a lot of the responsibility of kind of the configurations and the more complex sides that are really native to EDI, and let us do what we were good at and let them focus on really being our EDI solution.
Was Orderful kind of an instant choice, or did you kind of look around at the market and see and choose them above all others? How did that work? How'd you bring them in?
Yeah, we looked at several what I'd consider legacy providers, as well as some more modern approaches. We really liked the way that they approached kind of EDI as a whole, and when we compared them to kind of comparable solutions out there, their platform was just far and above, much better, more robust, and much further along than a lot of the other providers in the space.
Erik, how did this track with what Orderful had already provided to its customer base prior to your engagement with Immerse? Was it pretty much in the ballpark of what you've done before?
Yeah, it's right down the middle. At Orderful, we're focused on logistics and supply chain data integrations. We typically work with other SaaS platforms like Immerse that have many customers. And so, what the challenge is that a company like Immerse, a company like Flock Freight, other large SaaS platforms, with all of their customers, they must enable EDI on behalf of their customers. And so, what Kyle was mentioning around modern technology or the need for modern technology, like his team is full of engineers, right? And what Orderful offers is we offer a modern API where any enterprise, and in particular, other SaaS companies can use tools that they're familiar with. So, because we're an API, we make it really easy for a company like Immerse to connect once to us. And then what we do is we will automatically validate, convert, and communicate that EDI data on their behalf. So this is, it was like a very natural use case and a very natural fit for us.
Well, Erik, you've made a couple of references to APIs, application programming interfaces, and I'm just wondering what is the state of EDI right now? It's been around for pretty much a couple of decades, nothing new about it, but has it matured? What is modern EDI compared with what it was in its original conception? How did that track with what you were able to provide to Emerge?
Yeah, so I'd say we are the most differentiated product in the market in terms of offering a modern solution. Orderful is an API first company, and we from day one we adopted API principles in terms of building our product. Everything that you can do in our UI, you can use an API for to programmatically control your integration. Mm-hmm. So what that means for a company like Immerse is not only can they transact, the typical, in their case, they're connecting with carriers, so they're trading like 204s, 214s. 210s. Not only can they transact those messages, but they can also pull metadata down from our APIs to show in their platform the success of those transactions. And that's what, that's kind of very unique about Orderful. the state of EDI has mostly been around just kind of transacting, right?
Mhm.
A lot of the legacy providers or incumbents, they provide you a managed service or some sort of tooling to build your own integrations to your own supply chain. And what's unique about Orderful is we are a purely SaaS self-service product where our customers can connect one SOAR API and then access a larger network to start trading with their supply chain through that network, through that connection.
Okay, so Kyle, how did this all translate into what you needed at Immerse, and what was involved in implementation of this solution? I assume you had been using EDI to some degree before this, and this was kind of an upgrade to a so-called modern EDI. What was involved in accepting and bringing this onto your platform?
Yeah, so we are actually unique, and we chose Orderful as a greenfield solution. We were kind of just starting as a company, and we knew we were going to need to get into the EDI space to transact with our first few enterprise customers. And so we were kind of greenfield with Orderful. In past lives, we have worked with other tools like Liaison and the more traditional EDI platforms that were hosted in-house. So we're very familiar with those processes. The actual implementation, it took us about 45 days to stand up from zero to sending our first messages.
Mhm.
That involved like building the connection to the API, managing some specs and mapping on our end. And to be honest, most of the work was just changing our system to really support the broader workflows that were going to be needed for EDI. So if someone had a lot of those in place, it would probably be much faster than that. But we were really working from the ground up to establish those workflows, the message types, et cetera. So it was a pretty straightforward and simple process for us. Really Orderful allowed us to offload the EDI specific kind of nuances of like parsing files, connecting to servers, and really modernize that and bring it into a RESTful connection that we were very used to working with. So I think that really led to that accelerated time frame. And there's some lessons that we learned throughout that, but compared to past lives where it took us, I think, a year plus to stand up EDI for truckload facing customers,
Wow.
this is a much faster integration and allowed us to get to market and ultimately open up new revenue opportunities with many different shippers almost immediately.
And in that 45 days, it didn't disrupt your efforts to continue to transact key documents while you were bringing it on board?
For us, it was really a blocker to even starting business. So we went from kind of 0 to 100 with them. Really, it opened up opportunities for us. So we didn't have I'd say, challenges that some other orgs may have of downgrading the legacy system and replacing it with Orderful.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So Erik, sum up for me, if you will, and I'd like to hear the same from Kyle, is just what are the benefits now that this is in place at Immerse? What did Immerse get from you guys that they didn't have before? How did you help them out?
Yeah, so I mean, like Kyle said, like they were ground zero. So we just enabled their business to start to operate. They've been a great partner with us since day one. A little bit more about Immerse's environment. They have about 150 connections on Orderful now, and I think they've been on for maybe a year and a half. So there's been a lot of growth with them as well. But what they got from us are three main things. The first is simplified integrations, where traditionally you'd have to build custom integrations to every partner, and with Orderful, Immerse has connected to us once per transaction type. So instead of building hundreds of maps, right? I said there's 150 connections. They have to build 150 maps traditionally. They built 4. They built one for the 214, one for the 990, one for the 204, and one for the 210. So we've simplified the integration infrastructure for them. Again, that's from 150 potential integrations down to 4. The second thing that we really provide and where our benefit is, and the reason why I started the company, is all around onboarding time. So traditionally it takes, like Kyle mentioned, it would have taken them a year to get started with another provider. In terms of starting to trade with a new trading partner, like a new partner in your supply chain, typically that takes companies about 12 weeks to accomplish. That could be a 3 or 4 month timeline, depending on who you're working with. And the reason why that's challenging is that in other instances of EDI, there are no guarantees that your partner is going to accept your data. And what that means is, when you create a transaction, you email it to them, and they will respond via email with the acceptance or rejection of that transaction before you start trading live data. And the difference with Orderful is that we provide guarantees in our platform for a developer to solve those problems in real time. And so what we can do is we describe exactly to Kyle and his team how they are supposed to trade with companies like Coyote or Pepsi. And that description shows their developers how to get their job done. And those developers can then solve the problem in real time with real-time feedback loops. And so once they solve the problems and they solve all the validation errors in our platform, they can then begin trading live data with those partners. And there's no lost time in communicating with those partners. So that kind of 3 or 4 month timeline that's traditional with other managed service providers, or if you were to build it on your own, we've been able to reduce that down to 9 days. The vision of the company is to take it from 9 days to 9 hours, and 9 hours, 9 minutes, 9 minutes, 9 seconds.
Yeah.
So those are kind of the 2 main points. And then the third main point, the third big thing that Kyle and his team got is improved infrastructure. So instead of building traditional EDI maps, Orderful is a bridge for companies to adopt modern API principles when trading this legacy B2B data. So I'd say those are kind of the 3 main values that we provide.
Well, Kyle, then tell me, kind of sum up for me, especially we've talked here about growth. I'm sure you're looking at it in the future. How does this solution help you to so-called future-proof and set your business up to continue to scale?
Yeah, so we are working more deeply with our shipper customers to kind of streamline EDI connections to not only us, but several other partners. And on the other end of that, to date, all of our EDI integrations have been focused shipper facing. We are going to be shifting this year to integrating with our carrier base and several large carriers. So we are really excited to move from kind of being a follower in those integrations into being a leader. And I think that's where we're even going to see more of the advantages of the platform that Erik and his team have built. The ability to automate the testing process and really streamline your specs is incredible as you become the leader there. So we're really excited to continue to grow that. And I see a lot of great opportunities for us to work together.
A great story about modern EDI and freight procurement. I want to thank Kyle Jepson of Immerse and Erik Kiser of Orderful. Thanks both for talking about this really interesting case study, guys. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Robert.
Thanks, Robert.
Thanks, Kyle.